Hey folks, it's the last news update of the year and we're kicking things off with a sale. The UE Marketplace is celebrating the top sellers of 2022 with products from Decagon Studios, Davis 3D, KK Design, and more discounted by 50%. These end-of-the-year deals last through December 31st. Snag them before time runs out. We also wanted to take this opportunity to highlight a selection of the impressive 2022 Epic Mega Grants projects and introduce new perks for recipients. Featuring social good games, smart metahumans, digital twins, see why Mega Grants recipients are stunning market after market with their fresh takes on real-time tech. Last week, the games industry gathered to commemorate an exciting year, and we wanted to give a shout-out to the 17 Unreal Engine-powered games nominated for awards, with several taking home wins at the Game Awards 2022, including Best Indie Game, Best Fighting Game, and Best Esports Title. Additionally, over 20 new Unreal Engine game trailers debuted at the show. Watch them all from our handy Game Awards recap on the Unreal Engine feed. Want a way to streamline your game development process with smaller workspaces and faster data syncs? A new feature released with Unreal Engine 5.1 could be just the thing you're looking for. Explore virtual assets in our latest tech blog. In a short film, you have only a few minutes to pack in a compelling story to stand out. And a number of teams did just that in the latest Short Film Challenge. Australian and New Zealander animators turned out powerful stories with the help of UE5, MetaHumans, and more after only 2 weeks of training. Grab your popcorn and settle in with a selection of the shorts from the challenge. And we're thrilled to share the story of Indonesian-based Stairway Games as their founders came together over dreams of making the next Witcher and a love of farm sims. The studio's first game, Coral Island, is a vibrant reimagining of farm life. Wander over to the feed to hear from Stairway on their goals with the game and what it's like working in a remote region outside of Jakarta. Flying over to the community spotlights, this beautiful environment from Gwanseon-o was inspired by the Studio Ghibli film Castle in the Sky. Most of the piece was hand-built except for a handful of Marketplace and Quixel Megascans assets to put the cherry on top. Check out more of the stunning scene on their ArtStation page. Ever wanted to get into boss fights but on wheels? Take to the streets in the story-driven action title Gripper, developed by Hardcore. You'll ride, slide, and dodge as you master your bike's movement and combat mechanics, and then face off with murderous monster trucks, giant arachnids, and mechanized titans. Coming out in early 2023, wishlist Gripper on Steam now. Today, we'll leave you with Floppy the Robot. Created to serve and help humans, Floppy becomes our last hope against an evil AI that is dead set on dominating the world and driving out the remaining people. Watch the trailer over in the forums, and be sure to keep an eye out for the complete sci-fi series from Jacobo Rendon. Thanks for watching this week's news and Community Spotlight.
Hello everyone, I am your host Tina and welcome to Inside Unreal, a weekly show where we learn, explore, and celebrate everything Unreal. We have come to the end of yet another incredible year for Unreal Engine with a plethora of updates and projects that we've been excited to share with the community. Now today, we'll recap all of our favorite moments over the year, as well as give a sneak peek into the future. We're hoping to give a demo of the upcoming Unreal Editor for Fortnite, but we're having some technical issues, as does happen in live, so we'll let you know. But in the meantime, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our guests for the day. So first up, we have Nick from Engineering.
Hello.
Next, we have Jeremiah from Unreal Engine Product.
Hey, everybody.
And next, we have who you might recognize, the wonderful Amanda from Community. And of course, as is tradition, I would also like to welcome Tim back to the stream as well.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, Tim. Well, first, I would like to thank all of you so much for coming on and joining us today. It's going to be a great stream. But first, for all of you at home, if you would like to follow along with live captions, you can do so by clicking on the link that we will be dropping and pinning in the chat right now. So grab that if you need to. But with that, let's go ahead and dive in, shall we? So first and foremost, there was a tiny thing, just a little, no big deal sort of thing we did at the beginning of the year. Oh yeah, we released Unreal Engine 5.
Oh yeah.
Just, that thing.
It's just this year.
Yeah, which is actually incredible to think about, that it's only been a year so far. But it's been a journey. We started with a first look of Lumen in the land of Nanite, and then we followed that up with Valley of the Ancient. And then, of course, we also unveiled last year the Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 experience at the Game Awards. But we finally put those tools into the hands of the community, and we've been able to see some jaw-dropping results so far. To start us off, though, Tim, what does the release of Unreal Engine 5 mean to you, especially looking back at where we've come from, and what's it been like to see the kinds of projects that everyone is making now?
From the very outset of Unreal Engine 5 was to build a next-generation technology base that took absolutely thorough advantage of, the next generation of consoles and high-end PCs and the latest and greatest graphics features that the industry has pushed forward, and to put that in the hands of everybody, from game developers to film and television crews to car designers and everybody else. There's been really widespread adoption of UE5 so far. Multiple major film and television productions underway in virtual production with it. The majority of next generation AAA games now for next generation consoles are built in UE5. We're incredibly proud of the quality of work that people are doing, and some of it's being shown now, and it's incredible, but some of it's also being seen behind the scenes, and you're just going to be blown away by what's happening and what's possible with this next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Just incredible, the things that we've been able to see the community build. We've been talking about our biggest features, things like Nanite, Lumen, large worlds, for a couple of years now. But Nick, from a technological standpoint, what's the significance of these developments, and what will it mean for developers in the coming years?
Yeah, well, technologies like Lumen and Nanite are bringing a new level of graphics fidelity to games that are being made with Unreal Engine. The toolset is really designed to try to remove technical constraints wherever we can, and really let people's creativity show through. So the ability to bring in film quality assets with Nanite and not worry about polygon count or draw call budgets as much anymore. The ability to just have real-time dynamic global illumination that works. You don't have to set up light map UVs. You don't have to place reflection probes in the level. The engine can kind of take care of all that complexity. And with World Partition, the ability to build massive worlds you literally just build a large level, right? And you let the engine take care of the details of how we break that up for streaming purposes. So bring these technologies that allow the most visually stunning games to be built, along with removing some of these technical hurdles, I think is going to allow developers to create better games more quickly than they could before. And I'm already blown away with what developers have been doing with Unreal Engine 5, and really excited to see everything else that developers are going to make in the coming years.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have anything that you'd like to add to that, Tim?
No, I think it's going to be an awesome generation. We're just seeing the very beginning of it. The thing was launched early this year, and with Fortnite technically upgraded to UE5, but not taking full advantage of it. And we're going to see some amazing things in Fortnite, which have just launched with Chapter 4 and widespread industry adoption. This is the generation in which we get within striking distance of photorealism and stylized games. Come to look, at the quality level of a Pixar movie. And not just a technical possibility of these things, but there's the capability for teams, both large and small teams too, to use these tools and to build this quality of content, to use the massive libraries of content that are available in the asset marketplaces, and build this without having to have a team of hundreds or thousands of people. Again, this is an engine for everybody, from the smallest indie to the largest AAA studio.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you both. I think that gives a lot of really good perspective for where we're starting here. And for anyone in the group, not to get anyone in trouble, but any comments on what tools and features the community can look forward to?
There's already been, and we just shipped 5.1, which is really exciting. We put our hearts and souls into that. I think we're just going to continue building out those systems. You're just going to keep seeing things grow. It's already crazy that 5's been out for a year and we've already seen such incredible things. So.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple of new features that came in 5.1 that we're going to continue to develop further in 5.2. We have the new animation technologies that we've been working with, or working on, motion matching, machine learning deformer to be able to do much higher quality deformation in real time than was previously possible. There's a really early preview of our new material system that we're working with that allows us to simulate much more complex materials, things like car paint, being able to represent like iridescence. And so I'm really excited to see those technologies continue to evolve over the coming releases of Unreal Engine.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, especially the idea of seeing iridescent in 3D gets my heart going. But alongside this release, of course, we also shared the Lyra sample game, and prior to that, the City sample, which demonstrates how the Matrix Awakens and Unreal Engine 5 experience was built. So, Nick, Lyra is something entirely unique from what we've done before. Could you share a bit about Lyra, our intent behind the project, and maybe how folks can leverage it best?
Sure, yeah. It's a little different than something like City Sample, where we were showing people how we built the city for the Matrix Awakens demo. With Lyra, what we wanted to do was show developers, here are the best practices for using the systems in Unreal Engine for building games, and use it as a base for making their own games. So we really see Lyra as a way for developers to take it as a foundation and start building gameplay content directly in Lyra and evolving Lyra into the games that they release. We designed Lyra to be modular, so all of the gameplay features, all the components, they all exist inside gameplay feature plugins so that developers are able to add their own. They're able to take what's in there that they don't need and disable them, and extend it to meet their needs, or just take the parts of Lyra that they need for their game. So it's really that foundation to build upon and foundation to learn from on how to build games in Unreal Engine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And additionally in there, we built this cosmetic system. In Fortnite, you see all these cosmetics and they're all running on kind of the same animation, no matter what platform you're on. But we took the opportunity of releasing this new Lyra sample to put in a lightweight cosmetic system in there. To show it off initially, we released our new Manny and Quinn, our new UE5 mannequins, which is really exciting to get those out.
And they look amazing.
The teams did an awesome job. And you can also, if you want, jump into Lyra, import your own metahuman, and change just in a quick setting in the experience settings, run around as your metahuman. So it's really exciting. So people can take this, run with it, and make their own crazy inventions. I don't know what, but I'm excited to see what people make with it.
The customization is endless. If you haven't explored Lyra or City Sample, both are available to download for free on the Unreal Engine Marketplace. So make sure to go check them out if you haven't already. Now, we've been continually humbled by teams putting their trust in our development tools. Not only those that have been on the journey with us, such as, like Ninja Theory with Hellblade 2 or Studio Wildcard with their Arc 2, but also studios making the leap to work with us, such as CD Projekt Red with the next Witcher title, as well as the 2007 remake, and also Crystal Dynamics' next Tomb Raider as well, and many others. But Nick, what has it been like seeing the reception and adoption of Unreal Engine 5 among these kinds of studios?
Yeah, exciting and humbled, I think describes my reaction as well. When we set out to build Unreal Engine 5, maintaining backwards compatibility with Unreal Engine 4 was really important for us, to make sure that teams can bring their games, their content forward from Unreal Engine 4 into 5. And so it's great to see so many Unreal Engine 4 studios bringing their titles to Unreal Engine 5 and starting to leverage the new technology. And but I'm also really excited about all the studios who have decided to jump into to Unreal Engine, moving from internal technology over to using UE. I'm really excited to see the games they build, of course, but I'm also really excited to be able to work with those teams, hear their feedback, and learn from their expertise. I mean, these are some really great studios with talented engineers and artists who are going to be working with Unreal technology. And as they start building their games, we're all going to learn a lot. And I think a lot of the improvements that we make, we'll be able to bring back into Unreal Engine and deliver to the entire Unreal Engine community.
Yeah, which is going to be just incredible to see, being able to watch these tools develop among these large, well-known studios and these incredible projects that hold a dear place in a lot of people's hearts. Being able to see them move forward in the Unreal community is going to be unreal.
Always have to get one in.
Got to, of course. But we saw tons of incredible Unreal projects on display at the Game Awards this year as well. By our estimate, about half of the games showcased at the Game Awards are powered by Unreal, which is kind of insane to think about. And a few of those in particular that we're excited to highlight include CI Games' The Lords of the Fallen, Inflection Games' Nightingale, Bandai Namco's Blue Protocol, and a few others. But
They all look so incredible. I'm super pumped to play Nightingale. We're showing some of their footage, and it's just like, they look amazing. And seeing all those different titles up on stage is really, just, it feels, you're almost proud. It's like, I had nothing to do with it, but like, you're still like, this takes so much pride in those projects.
Yeah.
absolutely. And I mean, as we can see from this footage here, all of these projects just look incredible too. And I'm so excited to play them. I'm so excited to just dive in and be able to experience that, But we're not just seeing these large studios succeed. Individuals and small teams are creating outstanding works as well. For example, Blue 12 Stray took home not only Best Debut Indie, but Best Indie this year. And if that's not one way to make a splash on your debut, I don't know what is.
Right? And I think Stray has sort of a special place too, because Kula, who's worked on this project, has been in the dev community for ages, right? They've shared a lot of content in the forums of just like cool scenes they've made that have like cool rain effects or miscellaneous projects they've been doing. And I think they have a thread like coolest stuff or, coolest things or whatever it's called. But like, you can go there and just see all that stuff that they've been sharing back with the community. And now for them to have landed in such a big way is heartwarming.
It really is. It's like, I think you were saying it before, it just feels like cheering on a family member or a friend, just being like, oh,
Yeah.
You got this.
you did it. This is amazing. But projects like that, like Stray and also Nate Perkpile's The Axis Unseen or Danny Goon's Path of Ettenway are great examples of not only the kind of diversity you can find in Unreal development. I mean, all three of those are drastically different from one another. We have, The Axis Unseen is it's metal music and monsters. You've got the Path of Ettenway, which is a kind of Dark Souls-esque hack and slash, lots of dodging, very, very slick gameplay. And then Stray, which is
Cats wandering around the city.
beautiful cats in a beautiful city. Yeah.
Everything from metal monsters to kitty cats. Like, what more could you ask for?
Exactly. And I think another theme between all three of these is just the amazing quality that all of them have been able to attain as well.
Yeah.
Now, Unreal is just one of the many tools available to developers. So Nick, what is the goal of launching these other tools that we've come out with, like MetaHuman Creator, for example?
Yeah, earlier I mentioned, and Tim talked about this as well, how when we built Unreal Engine 5, we were trying to build tools that would empower developers of all sizes to be able to create amazing content, to try to remove technical constraints where we can and really give world-class technology out to the world. But in addition to that, with Quixel Megascans, with MetaHuman Creator, with Reality Scan, we're also giving developers the ability to get really high-quality content into their projects very quickly. Certainly one of the biggest costs to developing a game or real-time 3D experience is the creation of the assets themselves. Mm-hmm. And so having access to a library of incredibly high-quality content from Quixel Megascans or having access to Reality Scan to be able to very quickly get a high-quality asset that you scan with your phone directly into your game project is just incredible. what in the past would have required a really talented 3D modeler working with a really talented 2D texture artist, all to make a ton of assets. You just have it at your fingertips now, which I think is incredible.
Yeah.
And then with MetaHuman Creator, kind of similarly, it's giving tools that allow developers to really quickly create digital humans of exceptionally high quality. And digital humans are one of the most difficult and expensive assets to create. And so having these tools that allow you to very quickly, drag around sliders, push and pull some controls, and create a diverse array of high-quality digital humans, I think that's really transformative for developers to be able to create high-quality content. So bring these all together, everything from the ecosystem combined with the tools and technology of Unreal. Really, it's going to help developers do more quickly than they could before, and with less. So
Yeah.
really excited about how everything is pulling together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think to add on to the MetaHuman part, that the Mesh to MetaHuman that we released recently, where you already get this quite expansive library to pull from, and all these little sliders that you can adjust just about everything on the face. But you can also then take your own custom face that you want to model, or you take Reality Scan. I've seen some people that scan their face like that, and then put that in, and then they have themselves inside all the same the benefits that you would get from MetaHuman, but it looks like you, and it talks, and it's expressive. So it's not just the content that maybe we provide as the back end, but you're able to bring in your own content and still get the same benefits.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
and you see it fill the world. So you can get your custom meshes, your unique like hero characters, but like you can also create lots of them, and they scale well. So right, like you have lots of metahumans that's like, oh, they can fill out your world like they do in Matrix Awakens, or you see like people, you could fill it up with stadiums, and so it's like, here's one way where it's like, yeah, this is your means of getting a lot of more generic ones at scale, but you then have the flexibility to then customize for those really iconic characters that you're trying to build.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with the statement that you made earlier, Nick, of where this is normally really difficult for a small team to achieve, or especially beginners who are maybe just setting out.
It's difficult for a big team to achieve.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So having that capability just at your fingertips whenever you want it is incredibly powerful. And then, of course, speaking of Reality Scan, which is just an unbelievable bit of technology in my own humble opinion, that just came out. So if you at home would like to capture high quality models using your phone, currently only on iOS, but Android is incoming, then make sure to check it out. But another big part of this set of tools that we're giving to the community also includes the marketplace, with loads and loads of great content produced by the community for the community. When you need something for putting together your very first prototype, for example, or you're looking to leverage assets that you don't have time to, or frankly want to build yourself sometimes, it's there with oodles of assets available for you. We've been continuing our monthly free program content, and since it kicked off, over 250 packs have been shared as free for the month, and there are now over 100 permanently free items, constituting thousands of free assets made by marketplace creators, alongside millions of free assets from Epic itself. So that's just anything you could ever need.
Yeah, and to celebrate some of the top creators this year, they're doing a top seller sale, and so through the end of the year, really outstanding creators like Dekogon and Cinti Studios, Laertes. There's a number more that I can't share right now, but like all these really strong contributors to the community are having their stuff highlighted. So definitely go check out some of those items. So.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting myself for Christmas. I'm spending all my money on the marketplace.
It's a good place to put it, you know. And I guess there's also the point of, besides just assets, there's also tools, I think.
Right. Yeah. It's a great place. Yes, you can flesh out your world with all this great content, but a lot of people create some incredible tools to make it easier to create that content as well. So I just love the idea that the engine is extensible enough that people are able to drop in or release like an inventory system or an NPC system or a dialogue system, and you just are able to piece those together and create a game out of it. You don't have to be an expert engineer or an expert artist. You can still get your idea across, whether it's a prototype or the final game, by pulling from kind of the collective brains of everyone from the community.
The mind shift.
The mind shift. That's what it's-
It's both heartwarming and kind of terrifying at the same time. But yeah, and this is all, of course, in the effort of ensuring the developer has access to the tools that they need to exceed from content creation all the way to final pixels. And another part in that process involves our Epic Mega Grants program. After 4 years, the Epic Mega Grants program is still going strong, reaching over 1,800 recipients. Be sure to check out the selection of impressive and innovative projects over on the Unreal Engine feed on our latest update of the program. There's some really genuinely cool stuff that people have been making.
Oh yeah, there's a big list of really outstanding projects, and I love how it goes anywhere from very like social good, heartwarming stories of like people using metahumans to as interpreters or doing sign language to help communicate to folks that may be hard of hearing, to obviously quirky, adorable, fun, innovative games, right? It's all kinds of different projects that get to be supported. So
Yeah, and it feels great to be able to play at least a small part in the process of this development and see where these projects can go. So I feel like that's another one of those moments where it's like, oh, you did it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy to see you do this. But tears aside, we've talked a lot about resources that are available to you, but what happens when it's ready, when you're ready to actually ship your game? That's when the Epic Game Store comes in. So the Epic Game Store has a global audience north of 60 million monthly active users, which is an insane number to think about, let alone say out loud, and continues to have industry-leading revenue share of 88/12. And keep in mind that games built in Unreal Engine that are distributed through the Epic Game Store do not pay royalties on those Epic Game Store sales. Also, developers can use their own payment systems for in-app purchases, and we do not take revenue share on any of those sales. And last but definitely not least, we're excited to share that self-publishing tools to ship your game on the Epic Game Store are coming as early as 2023. So stay tuned for more news on that.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. It has also been a big year on the community side of things, with huge updates across the board to better user experiences. So Amanda, would you like to tell us a little bit more about some of those initiatives and changes?
yeah, absolutely. So like you said, it's been a really, really big year, and we were able to launch the Epic Developer Community, which we really wanted to make it easier for folks to get started. It can be, sometimes a little daunting to get into development, and it shouldn't be scary. So we wanted to create this one-stop shop for help. There are courses from Epic, there are community-created tutorials, so that again, it's folks can share what they're familiar with. You can start up conversations, share code snippets. So if you've built a little blueprint that you want to share with somebody else, go snag it. And we want to give a shout out to Sebastian from Blueprint UE, who's built that, and we've incorporated it into the Epic Developer Community site. So just continuing that train, right? Like everybody sharing and collaborating together, and it's a really wonderful experience. We've also got knowledge base articles created by some of our Epic devs. And yeah, that site has seen a number of iterations so far over the year. We've been able to add localization support for 6 language for the Epic content, and then the community can actually add tutorials in any language they want to, and just identify that right there in the ecosystem. So that's been really, really sweet. We've got over 9,000 solutions, over 1,700 tutorials, and Capturing Reality actually joined us last month, and so we're sort of really expanding that site and wanting to make it into like an even more Epic developer hub. Or Epic Developer Community. I know, we all grew up at the same time inside. It was great. So yeah, we'll welcome more folks in. And that way, yeah, like we want there to be this cross-collaboration on different tools and workflows, but it still feel like there's this central space for you to get that information. We're also going to bring in documentation, which is a huge one. So again, let's all bring it together, share what make it easy to find what you're looking for, and get you back to developing as you should be.
Yeah.
So that's the Epic developer community. This year we also have relaunched our user group program as part of the world tour. It sounds very metal, but so we're trying to make sure our evangelists and folks at Epic or the community knows where we're at. So it's like if you're at a conference, you're at a show with us, we want to see what you're working on. We want to meet you. We want to find out who you are face to face. And so that's an initiative to let you all know where we'll be. But there's also hundreds of groups all over the world. Right? So it's like, why not find that local community, find your area developers. There's a lot of folks in film, a lot of folks in games. And instead of trying to, find it online, I could hand you a controller and be like, hey, what do you think of this? And like, there's just something tangible about that live feedback experience. We're all working on something, or you can at least share and you're like, I'm really stuck on this bug. Do you have any ideas?
Right.
Just build this area community. So
Yeah,
that's a lot of
absolutely.
fun.
I mean, on a similar vein, we were able to all get back together in person for Unreal Fest this year as well.
Oh my gosh. I think we were all there.
We were all there.
Yeah.
And it was just, it felt like the first day of school, right? You haven't seen your friends all summer, and we're all getting together and talking about like, oh, what have you been working on? What have you done all summer? And it was just this chance for, Epic and some of our partners and community folk to share on some incredible presentation topics. And all that content's available online. So if you weren't able to make it to the show, the holidays are a perfect time to watch hours and hours and hours of content.
Yeah, getting to see everybody in person was great, and the breadth of talks, I was really impressed by all of the talks given by developers in the community from studios working with Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I loved being able to wander around and either go to talks that I had no idea about and learn something, or just talk to, I'd go from students, having a conversation with them, to people that have been in the industry for 20, 30 years. And there's just like these little groups kind of form, and you have these amazing conversations.
Yeah.
They're all learning something, right?
Right.
And that, kind of on that vein, right? Like there are game devs, there are film folks, there are architects, there's all kinds of people from all walks of life, and they all have something to bring to the table that's unique, a unique perspective, or, hey, I would have never thought about framing that shot that way, or, oh, your interactive experience might feel a little better if you do X, Y, Z. And so there's that great like collaboration that it doesn't really matter where you've come from, but it's all about folks trying to get to where they're going.
Right, absolutely. And I love the idea of kind of just this melting pot of everybody being able to help each other and come together with this knowledge, because if you think about it, these skills are transferable between industries. You can be an amazing game dev and still be able to do really well in a film setting, or vice versa. Especially with like cinematics and things like that, it's really easy for someone now to go from film to games as well. And the point really is that those skills are transferable, and just real-time skills in general are in high demand right now. So learn them if you haven't already.
Very, very high demand.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of studios are hiring. Get into Unreal Engine, go take them and go make whatever stories and projects they're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, also, there's a little teaser of us maybe being able to go to GDC this year as well.
So not only we hopefully saw you there in October, but we'll see you at the show in March. So
Yeah.
come see us.
Yeah, really looking forward to get back to GDC.
It's having missed it now a couple of years, it's been painful.
It's going to be a big homecoming.
It is.
Everybody,
Another one, yeah.
Crying, emotional. It's just, it's been so long. It's going to be great. Montage. I see it already.
All right, Tim, we need Unreal Engine handkerchiefs for everybody crying.
Absolutely. Yeah, that has to happen now. But yeah, thank you for all of those updates, Amanda. With that, so we've been talking a lot about games, which, to be fair, it's a great topic. It's not me saying it's not. But, the ecosystem supports far more than just games, all the way into things like film, television, broadcasting, live events, so on and so forth. So, Jeremiah, would you like to kind of walk us through that concept a little bit more?
Well, yes, I would.
Thank you.
It really does not matter if you're making a game or a movie or a VR experience. We're all just telling stories. We're all trying to share an experience. And we're at the end of the day, just all storytellers. I feel like everyone has a story to tell, whether you're a 10-year-old or 90-year-old, that's what you want to do. What we've been seeing, like you mentioned, is a lot of the leading VFX, broadcast, film studios diving into Unreal and taking advantage of this runtime piece as part of the process. Even if the end result is a movie file instead of a video game that you can play, the workflow that you get from using Unreal keeps you in runtime, keeps you creative, and our goal is just to keep that process front and center. So it's really exciting to see these large studios or small studios, for a lot of that linear content, use the exact same tools that you're using to make a game, whether you're an indie or Hollywood. You're all using the same thing, whether MetaHuman or a StackoBot. You get the same level of tools.
I'm pumped for the StackoBot movie.
Coming to you.
Yes, so we have seen, as I mentioned, some major studios jump in. I think last year we had Mandalorian, which was really cool. I mean, that's crazy getting that LED stage. And just recently, this year we had Netflix create their Love, Death, and Robots episode in Vaulted Halls Entombed. And it really pushed the realism in an episode. We worked really closely with Sony ImageWorks in order to build this out and push the engine to the bleeding edge and beyond, as we can never help ourselves. And to take advantage of MetaHumans, I don't think MetaHumans were released quite yet, but that gave us the opportunity to push the MetaHumans inside a production scenario, and Sony ImageWorks just took that and ran with it. Yeah. And kind of that feeds back into building out and improving our tools. Like it's always this cycle. We also had a great opportunity, like I mentioned, to work with that team, help them be successful, and that's something that it's just such a huge opportunity every time we get to help out those types of partners.
Yeah, for sure.
Now going from that realistic and terrifying episode, you'll have to watch it to find out, the complete other opposite end of the spectrum is Walt Disney's Big City Greens. They created this holiday special called Virtually Christmas, and it just released, I think, a week or so ago. Super exciting to see that. It's a perfect example of how you can take an iconic 2D show and bring it into the 3D world and still maintain that stylized look. They did it with a pretty small team, varied between about 16 to 30 people throughout the production. And they were able to blend these traditional 2D animation techniques and all the real-time tools like Sequencer and everything that you're used to using inside Unreal. They still kept that look and feel of the cartoony, traditional Big City Greens that everyone has fallen in love with. And that's something that people don't always associate with Unreal. Yeah. So to go from like hyper-realistic of in Vaulted Halls Entombed, 5 times fast, to Big City Greens, it's just incredible to see that. And huge kudos to both of those teams pushing it that far.
Yeah, both are just incredible projects. And again, kind of circles back on what we were saying about the level of diversity that we've been able to see with these projects. Because like you're saying, I mean, I don't think you can get much different between those two that you named specifically, in the best way possible, of course. But
I also love that we've seen a lot of our content that we've released as demos have been really kind of hyper-realistic, or pushing the digital humans. We had the Matrix demo. We've had Valley of the Ancients. And there may be some stylized, but it's definitely pushed more towards realism. So I love that people with more creative intelligence than me are able to see that and be like, I can apply that to something super cartoony or super, like, push it in a completely different way that I wouldn't really anticipate. It's been fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that if anybody is curious about actually seeing that Disney episode, it just aired, was it last Sunday now? Time isn't real, but Sunday, December 9th. And if you want to check that out, you can see the show in full and stream it on either Disney Channel or Disney Plus.
It's not just Disney, Netflix, and these big studios doing things either. We've talked about kind of the little guys, small teams, indie teams that have been making some incredible content. And we're finding that they're actually much more flexible and able to make more creative choices because they're able to iterate so fast. My mind is continuously, constantly blown, just scrolling through Twitter and seeing like these adorable puppets. I mean, I've been watching this this progression of these puppets be created, and this is just something I don't know
They
what.
look outstanding.
They look outstanding. I don't know what type of like how difficult that would be to make an actual physical puppet like that, but this is guys just messing around, playing with the tools, and seeing how far he can push it in his own creative way. It's really inspiring. It's, you know, we work hard on these tools, and to be able to see people just take it and run with it and make something out of the box just keeps us really excited.
Yeah.
Additionally, we saw some of these small teams get highlighted during the Fortnite Short Night Film Festival this summer.
Yeah.
And we had 3 shorts that we showed. One was called Two. Two was called One. One was called Two, by Emery Octon. And it's a great example of how a single person who's completely new to Unreal was able to tell a compelling story using these runtime tools. In fact, I believe he pulled the robot asset from Paragon up in the marketplace, took that asset and made it a completely different story around it. It's really cool to see. Another is Little Bird, which is created by Chris Perry and nominated for an Emmy, another Epic Mega Grant recipient. I don't have an Emmy, but I love that. I love that our community is able to build these types of experiences, just pushing these tools and making something compelling, and that's what it's about. It's about building the tools so people can tell their stories.
Yeah.
One thing I'd add to that is that the really exciting thing about having all of this content being built for film, television, games, automotive, is that there's the ability now to cross it over between these different media. From Ferrari using Unreal Engine to preview their cars before they're manufactured, to bringing the Ferrari into Fortnite. This is one of the beginnings of the content pipeline for the whole metaverse. And we think there's going to be a really rich set of opportunities for content developed for film and television to come into games, and vice versa. We're already seeing, thanks to the investments by Netflix and Amazon and Disney Plus, a much greater frequency of crossovers between video games and traditional entertainment than ever happened before. The Fortnite crossovers are one example, but a lot of other developers are doing it too. And Unreal Engine is one of the tools that can power that now. And I think that's going to be an economic engine that drives really exciting growth and of opportunities for everybody who participates in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Mall Stories by Elizabeth Ito and Chromosphere is an example of where they took game systems. Like they basically created these AI characters to populate the mall and wander around. And because of that, they got all these happy accidents where like at one point a character walks in front of the camera. It's like these little short interviews. And someone walks in front of the camera, which is something as a director you never choose to do, but that's exactly what would happen if you tried to film an interview inside a mall. Someone's like,
is coming.
They can't help it, yeah. So I love that type of emergence comes out of it, and it's like game systems being used in film, or those assets can be used to, it just.
Yeah, because you can repurpose the same like models and things,
Yeah.
like you've built it, and so instead of reproducing it for another medium, you just like, oh, well, I already have it here. So, here's my interactive experience. Here's my movie experience, and I'm going to make a VR one too, and you just, okay, yeah, I'll just repurpose all this content. So, you're saving everybody that extra work.
Yeah, for sure. It's really incredible just the way that all of this is able to be transferable between each other, kind of just exchange the exact same tools used in sometimes even the same way for what technically would be different products, but it was ultimately all from the same source. It's crazy. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it today, but it's a lot. It's crazy. Speaking of Elizabeth Ito, I adore her. She has such a special place in my heart. She and Corey Strasburger were actually both on an earlier episode of Inside Unreal earlier in the year. Corey Strasburger is the one who is the genius behind the Xanadu series on YouTube, which is amazing. If you haven't seen it already, please do check it out. And I had the privilege of being able to have both of them on for our show during the virtual production week that we held.
Speaking of, it would be hard to talk about this year without talking about virtual production. It's such a broad topic. It covers so many things, but it's just really hit the grounds running this year. We're seeing tools used by major studios in production such as House of the Dragons, The Matrix Resurrections, The Batman, Rings of Power, on and on and on. And these are, again, the exact same tools that you would use to create your projects. And from all of those, that feeds back, and we've been adding a ton of new features to help. So again, that cycle of listening to the community, helping them build stuff, and then providing new tools back.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited to see how much further virtual production goes as well, because
I think we've just scratched the surface.
I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with you, and I can't even imagine where it's going to go from here. I mean, virtual production has led to some pretty incredible moments across broadcasting and live events as well. And for example, Fox Sports kicked off their NFL season this year with a massive multicam studio, which was just bonkers to look at. And we've seen a great public response to the Rocket League Hype Chamber sample as well.
Which is beautiful, and I super congrats to the team for putting it out. And we went in depth with it you did on a stream earlier this year, right?
Yeah. The team was able to sit down and kind of walk through the tools a little bit more in depth in another episode of Inside Unreal earlier in the year. And the thing that really stuck with me about it was the level of adaptability that these tools had. Because I think it's really easy to see a sample of something and think, okay, well, that's cool and all, and I'll open it and scroll through it and look at it. But you probably are initially under the assumption that this sample is built specifically for this thing, and it might not work for what you want it for. But that's really not the case for these tools that they made. They specifically did it in a way where it's really easy for you to be able to take it and adapt it to whatever project you need to use it for. So keep an eye out for when I launch my my competitive Thumb Wars series coming soon.
We'll use it. We'll get a team to broadcast it all using the sample.
Yeah.
Start our own esport.
Maybe use metahuman thumbs.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Oh, nightmare fuel.
Nightmare Fuel for sure.
As long as they can all have little hats, right?
Yes, hats and little
crowd.
outfits. I can't say too much. Someone's going to take this idea from me, and I can't emotionally handle that. But besides that, there's also been other experiences like the wingsuit simulator jump. I don't know if any of you have seen or heard about that yet, but it's a whole experience where you're in a wingsuit. They give you the VR helmet, so you actually see the sights of plummeting to the earth at extreme speeds. There's fans set up all around you, so you feel the speed of it too. You get that whole adrenaline and excitement of actually doing a wingsuit jump without
the risk of actually smashing into the earth.
Right.
So it's all of the anxiety and none of the death.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Which is arguably a good thing in my opinion. And besides, experiences like that, there's also been a lot of shows by musical artists. I mean, we had Radiohead, BTS, Coldplay, as well as a few of the other shows at Coachella Festival this year, where those performances were powered by Unreal Engine. And it's just crazy seeing how they utilize some of these virtual production stages behind them, to basically redo entire music videos on stage and build brand new experiences that you really weren't able to have in a real life setting like that before. So very excited to see where all this goes. If you're interested, by the way, and learning more about these experiences that we've talked about, you can check out a lot of that on the blog if you want to see more details. Shameless plug there.
Yeah, and I've probably said it a couple times already, but I want to say it again. Everything that they create or that you create helps make Unreal Engine better. Like, Unreal Engine is nothing if the community isn't doing what the community does so well.
Yeah.
A good example of where we've seen some direct improvements is last year when we did the Valley of the Ancient. We worked with Aaron Sims Creative, and they animated this entire thing 100% in Unreal. And this was still in UE5 early access, but so much of that feedback and improvements that they gave us made it into UE5. And the same has been true with a lot of the stuff we've mentioned here, games and film. It just has gotten into UE5.1 as we continue to improve, and that's just going to just continue on. So yeah, artist feedback is critical to the success of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, 5.1 has also had a ton of game changers.
Oh. Oh.
Someone needs to cut her off.
Take the mic from me. But it's had a ton of game changers for the game industry too. And that includes our own, right, Nick?
Yeah, so we just launched Chapter 4 of Fortnite, and what we wanted to do there was use all of the technology in Unreal Engine 5 to deliver a truly next-generation experience for Fortnite. And that it also had this synergy with one of our primary goals for Unreal Engine 5.1 this year, where we have all these exciting new technologies, Nanite, Lumen. All of the tech demos we've done so far, we were focused on what can we do at 30 frames per second on console. And we wanted to tackle the challenge of using those technologies to make the best visuals possible at 60 frames per second. And so Fortnite was a great opportunity to do this. It's a 60 frames per second console game. And it's actually a uniquely great showcase of the Unreal Engine technology in that the game is fully dynamic. We have time of day, so the direction of the sun is always changing. Players are able to build new structures. They're able to destroy walls in the world. And so it really shows off dynamic global illumination exceptionally well. It's also quite a large map, and so it was a great way for us to test our large world building tools with World Partition. So being able to go through that experience of bringing new visuals to Fortnite and making sure that everything is running at 60 frames per second, it was a great way to stress test the engine and get all of the optimizations and improvements needed to show that this technology is ready for 60 frames per second on console. And we also lined up the 5.1 release with the Chapter 4 launch in a way that pretty much all of the work that we did to ship Chapter 4 ended up shipping in 5.1. So that means that everything that we did to ship Fortnite is already in developers' hands. Of course, there's always some optimization, some fixes that go in, right at the end, and so there will be some further improvements that come in the 5.1.1 hotfix, and some other changes that will go in 5.2. But it's really exciting that the vast majority of that work is already out there for Unreal Engine developers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just reading the update on it that it got out, and it was just like, oh yeah, all those bricks are modeled, and they all actually cast shadows. And you're just
Right.
like, this is a whole new experience for players too, right? Not only for developers for being able to put that out there, but then like what a improved and markedly improvement experience for gamers, and the way that our developers will be able to deliver, experiences to them.
Yeah.
The community feedback has been so fun to watch. I mean, we've been working on this stuff for a while, and at a certain point, you're so close to it, you kind of forget the impact that it has, and then to get it out there and just see everyone's reactions. It's like I said, people are going in like they're playing a new game, and they're like, "Whoa, this is mind blowing!" But it kind of is mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exciting and humbled by the feedback from the player base. Like, players are loving it. They're loving all of the new gameplay. They're loving all of the new features, all of the new gameplay systems, but also especially people have been loving the graphics and so to be able to see sort of that joy and delight in the player community is just awesome for us as an engine team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's also been One of the most impactful things that I've seen, especially on like Twitter, is just the side-by-side screenshots of people being like, I can't even tell you how many hours in this particular place, and now it looks completely different, and they're just blown away with it. And it's really great being able to see, like you were saying, the developers and the players kind of connect on where they meet in the middle here. And here's the product, and we want you to see what it can do, and also you can use these same tools for whatever experiences you want to build with them too, which is mighty powerful, if you ask me. But what do you think, Tim? Do you have any thoughts on Fortnite launching with the 5.1?
Yeah, I was so occupied with other things that I mostly experienced it for the first time as a player. It's just joyous to see how amazing the world has evolved and to see all of the really hard work. The team's been working on Nanite and Lumen for at least 5 years in parts of it, and all of that often that's connected to research threads dating over a decade into the past, and it all came together to bring the next generation of games. So I'm really excited about what's there and about what the future holds for it. And the other really exciting thing that's happening with Fortnite is we're bringing the Unreal Editor to Fortnite together with the scripting language. Now, we'd hope to show that here, but it's not working today, unfortunately. It was working yesterday, but it's not working today. It's kind of like having bad weather. Some days it works and then some days it doesn't. So if you're wondering why it didn't release in December when we were saying it was going to release, it's for that reason. The truth is there's a lot of effort required to bring all of this together at the level of quality and polish needed for creators. But the aim is to take the power of Unreal Engine that we put into the hands of indie to AAA game developers and put it into the hands of all Fortnite developers. So you together with your PC can build levels, import advanced content from Photoshop and 3D Studio and Blender and all these advanced modeling packages and build really detailed scenes using the tools that go way beyond what's in Fortnite Creative, and then bring it to life using the Verse scripting language, which we've been working on for a very long time. We've begun really starting to talk about and show code samples for. But we're really excited about the power this will put in people's hands, and we'll be showing it to you sometime next year. We've said we're shipping it in January, and I don't know, sometime between January 31st and like January 90th. We'll definitely be working by then, and we're really saddened to not be able to put it in your hands now. We're incredibly excited by the power it's going to give the community and really empowering the next generation of Fortnite experiences, going way beyond Epic and exploring new genres and things. So, there's a lot to be excited about next year, and a lot of really interesting things coming. The team here is working super hard. They were just working super hard trying to get this thing working at the last minute. But, that's development. It's hard for everybody. And, we're at the forefront of it, and really, really grateful for everybody who's supported Epic over the past few years. From Unreal Engine users to Fortnite players to Fortnite creators, and everybody who's using all of the different tools and systems here, the Epic Games Store and Epic Online Services and Bandcamp. Over the next few years, what we're going to really be doing at Epic is bring these pieces together into something that comes closer and closer to the metaverse from science fiction. Like, not the dystopian version of the metaverse from science fiction, but the really positive versions where you and your friends together get together into a real-time 3D social experience and can explore the whole world. And the world isn't just the creation of Epic or some other corporation, but it's the creation of all of humanity's best content creators from all walks of life and all countries, putting together the best stuff. And that's the grand vision for Epic is to make all of this happen increasingly and connect all of the players together with all of the content creators, and hopefully have in the next few years a new medium emerge from this, which combines the best of gaming and film and TV into this experience. And no pressure. We just need to get this to the point where we have 1 million developers building content and 1 billion players playing it all, and we think that that's actually possible, and we're going for it. So that's Epic's aims for the coming years, and we're very excited and honored by everybody's participation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with as much as we've achieved this past year, I think it's going to have nothing on what we end up achieving in the future. This really is just laying the groundwork for what's going to be possible going forward.
It was an exciting 2022, and it's going to be an even more exciting 2023, I think.
Yep.
Always is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for the updates that you gave today and walking through some of our favorite moments of the past year. I know that there's even more than we were able to cover in just today's stream, but it's been an absolutely incredible ride. And again, I'm just excited to see what we end up doing further in the future as well. But thank you all so much for joining today on the stream. I hope that you all have a fantastic holidays, and we'll keep you updated as we always do on the newest and greatest that we come up with over here. And we will see all of you in the next year. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.